You say it's the lab, okay? Brandy, what is this strange place we're at?
It's the lab.
Nailed it. 222 in. Josh had us froze on his, what do you call it? Avatar?
Yeah, his screen avatar.
Yeah. 222, Josh. Glad you could be here. Thanks for joining us.
Yay.
Josh warms up the crowd a little bit. He tells them, hey, I ain't rushed into this. I put some thought into it, and this is where we're at.
Right.
Gonna play y'all the phone call. Gonna let it speak for itself.
Right.
After that, he says, after the phone call, probably ain't gonna say much. Gonna let it stand on its own. Let it churn with you fellers for a while.
Yep. I don't blame him. Give you a little bit to think about it.
Let you gather your thoughts before rushing to
judgment.
Comment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get straight to the call too. Brandy?
What?
How many minutes in was it before Dawn Wells brought up Summer's name and something that had nothing to do with Summer? 2 minutes in, Dawn was like, I didn't tell you. I mean,
he does this a lot, right?
Dawn's a hard man to speak to.
He gets it off topic, probably on purpose.
Most likely.
Very good at it.
Mislead. Brandy, I would describe Dawn's mood as confrontational from the rip.
Very, yeah. But I could tell he's kind of nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
His voice.
Yeah.
How he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the old D-dubs. No, like he usually acts.
We had a rattled D-dub at this one.
Yeah, I could definitely tell. He's shaking in his flip-flops or his boots.
He'd have been better off when they got to the cell. Mr. Webbs, you got a phone call to the detective. Just been like, not D-dub. He had to roll down there and take it, and he didn't do himself no favors.
No, should have just pleaded the fifth.
One point he tells the detective, it's all bullshit. Do you know anything about my daughter?
We're not here, Dawn, for your daughter.
No, Dawn, that ain't what this is about. This guy ain't investigating that. He's investigating some allegations.
Serious allegations.
Yeah, Josh had kind of backed this stuff up a couple days earlier when he showed some documents of a police report and other things where there was an incident that Dawn says is all lies.
Right. They have his voice recorded saying some of this stuff, and he still denies it.
Still denies it. Detective's like, well, Dawn, I heard the tape. Dawn's like,
what? What tape?
all lies. Dawn says, Marion M's always hated his guts.
Yep.
Never liked it. Dawn takes it back to Summer again. He does this throughout the conversation with the detective.
Yeah, many times.
Quite a few. He says, I don't want anything to do with my stepsister's lies. Then it begins. Dawn starts talking about YouTube.
Of course. Nothing to do with YouTube. He has to bring it up.
And I swear, I kind of got the feeling the detective don't watch a lot of YouTube because he didn't seem interested.
No, not at all.
Dawn says, lies, lies, biggest liars ever. Lies, lies. Detective asks him about something. Dawn says, hell to the no.
Hell to the no, not no. Hell to the no.
Hell to the no. Once again, Dawn makes a YouTube reference. Detective unamused.
He's like, he didn't really
acknowledge.
No.
Then he starts giving the cop where he was at when Summer went missing. I was at work. The boys, they were upstairs at the house.
Wrong case, Dawn. Wrong case.
It's not what he's on the phone for, Dawn. This ain't about that. I know you get all your shit confused, but we're here about Utah.
Duh.
Then they bring up the motorcycle rides that Dawn used to use. Of course, Dawn says, all lies. Don't even admit to none of that anymore. I could have swore I've heard him.
I've heard that. I've heard him say that on Alive, talking about it a couple times.
Pretty sure. Then the detective says, Dawn asked this girl if her dad ever touched her.
That's weird.
That grossed me out.
Who would ever ask somebody a question like that? I think maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe asking to, maybe yes. he had a better getting his hands on her, probably.
I don't know. That's
Nasty.
horrible. Then Don goes to his deflection of this $20,000. He says the niece got his dad for 20 grand, 20 large. One point he says cash.
Wow. Got to do with anything, though.
Got nothing to do with what he's there for, Don. I mean, you're not there to file charges. He didn't call you so you could file some charges for shit you knew about. He was there because of what you've been up to. Or, well, back in the day, the shit you was up to.
79 is what he said, the detective.
70. He said 78 at one point, don't he?
Oh, I heard 79.
It was way back there.
Mm-hmm.
He said this all is about, what this issue is they're trying to keep him away from his dad. All this nonsense is because they don't want him to have a relationship with his dad. But at one point he talks about his dad give his family away and they don't have no relationship, period. So, seems like...
Dicks each other, right?
Yeah. Can't say that he's never there and then... Shaking the bed, man.
Oh, was that what did it?
Yeah.
I just moved.
I know.
Oh, good.
One point the investigator's talking and Don's mumbling. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. While dude's talking, Don's awful big balled with this detective.
Mm-hmm.
Being that it's over the phone.
Yeah.
I suspect. One point the detective brings up a certain person. Don says, know her. Never heard that name before in my life.
Nope.
No idea. I'm like, well, it's your niece's cousin, so that doesn't ring. Nope. The detective says, is it cool if I call you Donnie? I don't think Don answers that.
Mm-mm.
I think he just lets him because he keeps calling him Donnie throughout. He calls him Donnie the whole time, and I feel like it's Candace talking to him because she's
Donnie.
that's what she calls him.
Mm-hmm.
Give us one.
Donnie.
That's pretty spot on.
Donnie.
Damn, you been working on that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Nailed it. Talks about Summers' case. The detective actually asked him, they got anything? Nothing. Not anything. Nothing. Not nothing. Not one hair of nothing from nothing.
No evidence.
Nada.
Nope.
Nothing. Now, they just ain't sharing it with you, Don.
Duh.
It's called the case against you. They usually don't tell you about that stuff. Don asked the detective, he said, you watched any of Mary's videos? Mm-mm.
That's a weird question, wasn't it?
It was a lot weird about it. Don mentions to the detective, in the case of our daughter, me and the old lady, we passed lie detectors.
Sure did.
Sure did. Sure enough. Passed lie detectors. Both of us. Me, old lady, check on that lie detector.
But right now you're lying through your teeth. He might have passed that. I'm just saying he's lying now.
At one point, Don's talking about, hey, I got a daughter, and then he's talking to the detective, I got these boys, but he never once mentions that the boys are in custody at this moment. I noticed that.
Right.
Because then the detective might start asking about that. That'd be some other stuff he'd have to explain.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mention that. Yeah, I got 3 sons.
He didn't go there.
Don says his stepmother stole his mother from them. Stepmother stole their dad from them. The stepmother stole the dad from his mother. That's what Don says. Stole him like she come in the house and swiped his ass when mom wasn't looking. Said him and his sisters lost their dad to Mary's family.
Yeah, he holds some hatred, definitely, about that.
Yeah. You can tell there's some, I tell you what, there's some real issues there besides just the other stuff going on. There's a lot of, the detective brings up the fact that he's heard the conversation between him and Mary. Don is,
No way. It's not recording.
No, it's the alarm to go get Taylor.
No.
That was the first one, right? Look and see what's happening.
205.
He says he can barely remember any part of the conversation he admitted to earlier. Father Time's getting on him pretty hard because that memory slipped a lot from not long ago. We ain't known Don but 2 years max, so.
Within that time frame, it was.
Within that time frame, went all to shit. He said the incident with Mary that comes up was just playing around. He says what it was is they was playing too rough. He said he ended up breaking it up. He come in and broke it up in the end.
Yep, not right.
That sounds like some bullshit, Don. I mean, I'm sorry.
It's not what you said before.
Your track record, the good guy, seemed to be the role you've been playing.
Nope.
And right there, you're admitting there was something
Fishy,
I feel. For sure. The detective, YouTube comes up again. He basically tells Don, he's like, I don't know anything about the YouTube.
Right.
And Don's like, serious as hell, man. I bet that detective was like, what the hell is this guy?
He brings up YouTube all the time.
That's all he talks about. Does he realize? Does he think he's on cam now? He was being recorded, though. And it made it back to YouTube, damn right.
Yeah.
I guess you got a point there, Don.
Yeah.
And apparently Don was on a time frame, because the detective's like, well, I think they told me you had to go at so-and-so, and Don's like, yeah.
Hurry up.
Shit to do. Got a haircut after this.
Make my bed.
That was weird, though, wasn't it?
Call King.
It's like, Mr. Wells will need to be off the phone by no later than 3 as an appointment down at the shower.
That's weird if somebody's interviewing.
You would think that would outweigh whatever Don had to do that day. Cop's like, anything you want to say, Don? Are we done here? Wow.
How rude.
And that's how it ends.
One thing I learned, Don is a very good liar. Well, not really a good liar, but
No.
he lies about everything. If he's lying about this, lying about other things.
Don tried to manipulate the whole conversation.
It didn't work too hot.
Anytime the detective tried to get him nailed down on something, he would bring up Summer or something. Deflect. But there was a couple spots in there where he said he lied. And I think it can be proven also.
Yeah.
And when you lie in an interview and he had been read his rights, I'm pretty sure that's a crime.
Yeah.
So that prosecutor might need to rethink their position